A dreamer's rise. In a small village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a boy named Luka. He wasn't born into wealth or prestige, but his heart was filled with dreams and determination. Luka had always been captivated by a girl named Elara, the daughter of one of the wealthiest merchants in the land. Her beauty was as captivating as the stars, and her kindness knew no bounds. But to everyone around him, Luka was nothing more than a lowly farmer's son, someone who should never dream of aspiring to win her heart. As the years passed, Luka's feelings for Elara grew stronger, and with them, his determination to win her affection. However, he was not the only one who admired Elara. There were rich suitors from far and wide who came to court her, each adorned in fine clothes and bringing with them extravagant gifts. They were men of wealth, power, and influence, while Luka had nothing but his love and a handful of dreams. Luka's journey began with a decision. He would rise above his circumstances no matter what it took. He worked tirelessly on his family's farm during the day, saving every coin he could spare. At night, he would study under the flickering light of a candle, learning about trade, politics, and anything that could improve his standing. He knew he needed to do more than just work hard. He needed to be smart. His first obstacle came in the form of Elara's father, who was adamant that his daughter would only marry a man of great wealth and status.
"You're a good boy, Luka,"
the merchant would say.
"But a man like you will never have enough to provide for my daughter."
Undeterred, Luka continued working. But his path became even more difficult when the wealthiest suitor, a pompous man named Darian, took notice of his intentions. Darian was everything Luka was not: rich, well-connected, and smugly confident that Elara would be his. He would often mock Luka, calling him a dreamer who didn't know his place. As Luka's business began to grow, a modest trade in herbs and spices that started to gain the attention of towns beyond his village, Darian became nervous. He could see that Luka, despite his humble beginnings, was slowly becoming a man of influence. Afraid that Luka might actually succeed in winning Elara's heart, Darian devised a cruel plan. The grand banquet was approaching, a night when all the suitors would present their final gifts to Elara, hoping to win her favor. Knowing that Luka planned to attend, Darian paid off a group of local thugs to intercept Luka before he could reach the event. They waited for Luka on a narrow road outside the village, where he would have to pass on his way to the banquet. As Luka approached, full of hope and excitement, the ambush began. The thugs set upon him, beating him viciously. Luka fought back as best he could, but the numbers were too great. They pummeled him until his clothes were torn and bloodied, leaving him bruised and battered in the dirt.
"Stay where you belong, peasant."
Darian sneered before leaving Luka behind, convinced that the boy would never make it to the banquet now. But Luka was not so easily broken. With every ounce of strength he had left, he dragged himself to his feet. His fine clothes were ruined, and the carefully chosen gift he had planned to present to Elara was lost during the attack. But Luka didn't care. All he had left was a small book, one that had belonged to his mother, a worn, tattered book filled with stories of love and adventure. It would have to be enough. Stumbling through the village streets, Luka arrived at the banquet, his appearance disheveled and covered in dirt and blood. The guests gasped at the sight of him. Some laughed, others whispered cruelly behind their hands. But Luka didn't falter. His love for Elara and his determination to prove himself kept him standing. When it was his turn to present his gift to Elara, the other suitors sneered, especially Darian, who was certain he had ruined Luka's chances once and for all. Darian presented an opulent crown made of pure gold, declaring that only the finest things were worthy of Elara. Then it was Luka's turn. He approached her with the only thing he had left, the book. It wasn't fancy or expensive, but it was filled with meaning and love.
"This was my mother's."
Luka said softly, his voice raspy from the pain.
"She always told me that love is the greatest treasure of all, and it can't be bought with riches. I don't offer you wealth or status, but I offer you my heart, my loyalty, and a life of adventure together.
Elara was moved to tears. She saw the pain Luka had endured and the courage it took for him to stand before her, despite all the obstacles. She knew in her heart that Luka's love was genuine and that he had fought for her, not with riches, but with his spirit and devotion.
I choose you, Luka.
She said, her voice filled with warmth and certainty.
Not because of your wealth or success, but because of your heart.
Though her relatives were scandalized and Darian was furious, Elara stood by her choice. In time, Luka's business continued to grow, and he became one of the most respected men in the region. But despite his newfound wealth, he never forgot where he came from or the love that inspired him to rise above adversity. Luka and Elara were married in a small, simple ceremony in the very village where they had grown up. Together, they built a life filled with love, adventure, and mutual respect. Proof that true riches lie not in gold or power, but in the strength of the heart and the courage to pursue one's dreams. Moral of the story: true wealth is not measured by the riches you possess, but by the strength of your character, the love you give, and the courage to follow your heart. Even when the world tries to bring you down, perseverance and integrity will guide you to victory. In the end, love and kindness are worth more than all the gold in the world. Subscribe for more.